Hi, my friends. I want to do a quick video on this. It's not a big deal, but it's very interesting. This started happening about 3 weeks ago. That I literally, before I even touch my screen on my cell phone, it's like my fingers being extended, like from some kind of force or energy, where I can actually control my cell phone without even, it's like it immediately, like I can browse and push buttons. Like this video, I can stop and hit things, and without even actually touching the screen. It's crazy. I'll be like a half an inch away from the screen, and there's no technology in this phone. I've got the Samsung, just a Samsung phone with Android. There is no technology to do this, and it's kind of freaking me out because I can sit there and I'll hit like go on this or start typing in even letters like, let's say like typing cat, CAT really quick without even touching the screen. And it's crazy. Like I'll be half an inch away. Now, the reason I bring this up is there was Bethany that, God bless her soul, we lost her about, it was about 4 weeks ago. It was about 4 weeks ago. I should know this better than that. But, so, Bethany, she was great. And one of the last things she told me was, we had this conversation, and then everything just unraveled with that, because that time she didn't mention anything about that she was not feeling well, and this happened so her health deteriorated so fast out of the blue on us that I didn't even know that she was, my gosh, that just, well, let's not go on about that. It just happened so quick. So anyway, so Bethany said the same thing about this, because she goes, Kirk, don't think I'm crazy. She goes, but she goes, I can actually, before I touch my phone, I can control my phone without touching it. And she says, she goes, it sounds crazy. She just mentioned out of the blue. And now I'm seeing the same thing, and it started about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's like, I don't know if it's like, it's not a telepathy. And I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. So I don't know if so the reason I'm bringing this up is if you're experiencing this, let me know. Because like, here's my finger. I mean, I'm like, start to push, and it's like it automatically pushes you before I fall through. I mean, it's like, because I used to be a coach in pitching. It's like, I'm thinking of pitching, the balls that are coming out of my hand before I even throw it. And it is so bizarre. Now, is there any advantage to this? Not really. It's just why it's happening. I don't know. Is there something, is it time out of sequence? I've tried to think about what would cause this. Because the cell phone, there's no technology on my phone that can do this, right? It can't. There's nothing that can read, that about in that far away, from my finger. And at first, I'm like, it took me a while to realize this was happening, because I didn't think, after Beth mentioned that, I kind of blew it up and put it away. And then I started experiencing it, and I was like, and then I remember it back. I'm like, God, what's happening to my cell phone? Why is it, it doesn't do it all the time though. It's like if it's a certain state of mind. It's kind of like if my intent is to do it. But then I think about it, if I think about it, then it doesn't really happen. It's kind of like, just I'm nonchalantly just kind of like, reaching out there with my hand, and it's like, boom, you know what I mean? Like I'm reaching up, boom, and it happens. And it's hard to describe that state of mind, because if I think about it, then it doesn't happen. But then if I, so there's something about this that it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like to have, I don't know what that state of mind is. It's kind of like you're just kind of just thinking it, and it becoming reality, boom, like it happens. I'm trying to describe it because I've never experienced anything like that. It's kind of like, well, it's kind of like walking, you don't really think about walking. It's like an automatic, like you put your foot forward. You don't actually sit there and think, oh, I'm going to move my foot forward. It's kind of like that. If I think about it, see, if you actually think about walking, you kind of walk kind of weird. It sounds crazy, at least I think you do. If you start focusing, I'm going to move my foot forward, and you start thinking about it, then all of a sudden your walking becomes kind of weird, right? And I remember there was a comedian that talked about this. He goes, it's funny, he goes, if I think about, when he goes, sometimes when I was walking across in front of people, he said, if I thought about it, that it said, boy, he goes, like, if I think about I'm going to trip on that stage getting up there, or if I do something weird walking to there, He said, sure enough, I come walking up like a dork or something. And he said, I'd trip on the stage. And he goes, they thought it was part of the act, because he goes, I was just trying to be cool and not trip. So there is something to this that, it's kind of like you got to be in automatic mode, right? And maybe that's how we work in the spirituality world, right? That you kind of go in automatic mode. See, and that's kind of like me anymore. I'm kind of, it used to be like I had to think about things, observe things spiritually, had to focus in on it. And now it's kind of automatic. I can see things spiritually within seconds. I can say that doesn't fit, that's out of there. Isn't it amazing? And I'm sure it's the same for you, as it becomes automatic, like a part of your subconscious mind. See, that subconscious, you're bringing it to the conscious world, you know what I mean? And that's what makes us unique, is we can control our subconscious. Now, the reason I bring that up is that, I'm not trying to insult these other people on earth, they let their subconscious control their behavior. And that subconscious mind, even by psychiatrists and psychologists through time, said that's what drives you to really gross sexual activity, even beyond normal nasty stuff. Their subconscious mind that's why they try to program through TV. They're trying to get into that subconscious mind to automatically generate a response. It's like the Pavlov. I don't know if you ever studied this psychiatry, where they ring the bell and the dog would salivatate, and just by hearing the bell ring, because they knew food was coming. So they practiced that. So they said these dogs, they'd ring the bell, and that's called Pavlov training, so that the dogs, they hear the bell ring, and the dogs salivatate, say, oh, here comes food. And then so then they quit giving the dogs food, they'd salivatate, and then the food wouldn't come. So then they found out through these experiments that more random that you provide it, the more the training would become to following your orders. Sometimes they'd ring the bell and not provide food. No times they'd ring it and provide food. And they said that actually is more controlling than just ringing it every time and the dog's like, but there's more involved in it. So I think the second experiment may have made them do certain things, like go to a corner, or I can't remember what it was, put their paws or something, that they had to do some kind of training activity, that depending on whether that bell rings. So there's more to it though, right? The reward. They said that's why casinos work so well, because the random pulling of that slot machine, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but if you win every time, then those expectations, you're not under control of gambling addiction. So addictions are that randomness that occurs, right? That random reward. That, do I get it this time? Do I don't? I won. Oh, yes, I won. And that's why they keep putting money in addiction. So I might win again. Oh my gosh. See, and if you lose every time, you're going to walk away too. So that's why. So winning or losing. See, that's where it's solid on both ends of that spectrum. That it's better to brainwash you. So that's what this real leaving. You got to put all this stuff into perspective. That, so that's what we see. That's how they program these people. Is that sometimes they'll have some kind of person's done something wrong, a criminal. They act like that justice is served, but then other times the justice ain't served. So it's always the if game. Is this one they're going to catch them and make them pay or not pay? So they got to control. Because then they have your head spinning, people arguing at bars over this. Your friends, it's like even the politicians. Well, they did this, so they did that, and normally this is what happens, but we don't know if it's going to happen this time. Oh, what a surprise! It didn't happen this time. See, that is how this system, we call it the beast system. And I'm going to use other brothers' terminology, the human, it's called the this prison realm, human prison realm, whatever. It does that exact same thing where you get random rewards and the random behaviors, even the news. Sometimes you get the truth, sometimes you don't. Sometimes, seriously, it's that randomness that they got you into the system. Bang! And you can see that, you can see it in many ways, you see it in people's behaviors, the picking the rose. Does she love me? Does she not? Does she love me? Does she not? You know what I mean? It's like, why can't you just ask? Do you love? I'm serious. It's that randomness. No, now it's not a good example. That was terrible. But you know what I'm saying, right? There's that randomness that I've been exposed to in this world. Like, even with bonuses, when I was in, I said, boy, are we going to get that bonus and shit? They said, oh, I don't know. They said, they might. We're not sure. And like, well, and sometimes we wouldn't get it. And we're like, oh my God, we thought it was there. Darn it. And then also, I'm serious, because we worked our rear ends off. They said, if you met your goals, you're all going to get a year bonus. They said, oh, I'm sorry. Like times like now, they said, oh, well, stock market's pulling back, and, we're trying to maybe save some jobs, which you're for, right? But then all of a sudden it wasn't that bad of a slump. And boy, you sure the upper management never took a cut. No, not the CEOs, not the top level. No. They still got their shares, their money, but we didn't at the bottom of the feeding fish pole. Anyway, feeding the barrel at the bottom of the ocean. Lowest on the food chain. Yes, we never got, or they got theirs. We're not going about that one. But it's that randomness, that those bonuses coming in, because sometimes, in the numbers even, sometimes they said, oh, this year we're going to get like, 10% of your salary. And all of a sudden you get like 5, you're like, what? We worked our butts off. See, that's under control. And then, so anyway, we don't need to go on that. So it's a random behavior. We got it. But so this is how this realm works. That's that randomness where you don't know. And sometimes I feel like that even myself when I've been working the streets or, work with the other side. It's like, man, sometimes it turns out good. Sometimes it's not. And I'm just like grinding my teeth. It's like, man, how could I have done better? See, that's even how they've trained me to be a good dog for the other side, and not in a blasphemy way, because I've seen some great things, but I'm saying that's how I've been trained, through this random behavior that, sometimes I had a great time in the evening, other times I get attacked, it's like, what happened? I did nothing wrong, else than that attackedness. And boy, that makes you just on edge, just keeps you constantly alert and on edge when you don't know what to expect. And that's what I've learned too, is you get what you see. So now things are so much smoother that I don't influence that result coming out, that manifestation of something bad happening. And just sometimes I'll pray too. I'll say, well, I pray that this didn't happen, Creator, blah, 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 and our Father, Creator, whatever, right? And then also I have that expectation that things will be smooth, and it tends to go a lot better, right? So back to the thing about this cell phone thing. Now I wouldn't ramble. Sorry, I apologize. It starts out with the cell phone, and Kirk has more to add because it leads to this, leads to that, and moves on. So I apologize. I want to know if that's happened to you, because I cannot explain it. It should not. This is something that you could probably, I got to see if there's a way I can record it. Maybe have the phone turn. I don't know how we do this because you can't tell when touching the screen. Well, anyway. I don't know what it means. I don't know. I didn't say. I thought, well, maybe it's part of my spirit sticking, extending beyond my flesh. Even I'm like, maybe it's my spirit going beyond my flesh. And I thought, well, maybe somehow it's my thought that I'm manifesting it to happen. And like I told you, like the automatic nervous system, boom, it's happening. But if I focus on pushing those buttons, it doesn't. I don't know. I thought it very possibly. Then I thought, well, maybe it's an angel that's seeing that and knows the future and says, if I can push, they go ahead and pushing it for me. But why would they do that? Ridiculous, right? They get some angel here sitting there going, oh, Kirk's going to go this, peek, push it there, peek, 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 peek. He's going to do this, peek, because I see the future, peek, I'm going to do it for him, peek, peek, right? So I have no idea. Other than I can think it has something to do with my thoughts, my intentions, and boom, it happens. Yeah. So that's like even breathing. Now, this is something I want to explore further when thinking about this, about just beyond the flesh, what is an automatic spiritual system, not just the nervous system? Because I have been, for example, and this is where it gets kind of freaky. We train fear spiritually. Because I've been having that tire issue that I showed you in the video. I mean, I patched the tire. It works for several days, and I had the flat on the same tire, right? And then I patch it, and really good. And I should have just placed it, but it's so busy, this and that. I patched it. So now I'm so used to waiting for that driving the highway, that scare, that I got to retrain my brain and my thoughts that tire ain't going to do that to me. And it's going to all of a sudden, and I'm going to pull off the side of the road, and oh my God, I got to deal with this flat tire. But see, it's just happened just a few enough times randomly out of this course of sometimes it worked. I mean, I drove the same tire, I patched it and drove it for like, gosh, a week or two. And then all of a sudden lately it just got worse and worse, but it's still like sometimes the last 3 days and pop, and then it would be flat again that they gave away. So now, even now, I when I'm walking out, I look at the car tires and monitor, is that tire flat? Because sometimes I come out of somewhere and it's flat, and I go, oh, I got to fill the tire again. So is that randomness, and also that, not to go on about it, but it's crazy because even when driving the highway, I'm like nervous. I feel this nervous system like, oh my God, I'm nervous. Is that thing going to pop? I see, and it's that nervousness, right, that you created. So that's how they control society, through by fear, reprogramming, programming over and over again to make sure that you are obeyed. Now, me, it's obeying to looking at the tire. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, I mean, it's the smart thing to always check your tires, but now I'm nervous when I know it's a brand new tire. Well, it's actually used, but it's basically brand new. I got a good deal on it, but it's almost brand spanking new. There's nothing wrong with the tire, but I still even driving to like listen, like I'll listen to music when driving on the road and listening. Is it, oh my God, is that tire going? Isn't that crazy? So it's going to take me a while to reprogram, remove that memory out of there, to back to being normal where I can trust the vehicle again. Isn't it crazy? All right. Take care. God bless and love y'all.